External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Jaishankar and Russia's first Deputy PM Denis Manturov addressed the 25th India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission in Delhi, reaffirming commitments to strengthen trade, economic and cultural cooperation. Dr. Jaishankar acknowledged challenges in payments and logistics but highlighted advancements, especially in connectivity projects like the North-South Transport Corridor. He noted Russia's vital role in India's energy, fertilizer and health security, projecting that the trade target of $100 billion by 2030 is achievable sooner. Watch the highlights.
Would encourage joint ventures and other forms of collaboration. There have been challenges to trade, especially in regard to payments and logistics. Perceptible progress has been made in that regard, but there is still some work to be done. Our joint endeavors in regard to connectivity, such as the International North-South Transport Corridor, the Chennai-Vladivostok Corridor, and the Northern Sea Route, must go forward. We will also be discussing cooperation critical for our food, energy, and health security. Russia has emerged as a major source of fertilizers for us. Its supply of crude oil, coal, and uranium are indeed important. Similarly, India's pharmaceutical industry has emerged as an affordable and reliable source for Russia. Looking ahead, we are also exploring the mobility of talent and skills. Customizing them for the Russian market has to be a shared enterprise. Excellency, I'm confident that we will achieve the trade target of $100 billion by 2030, well before that. In parallel, we will also take our partnership forward through the program of economic cooperation till 2030 that we hope to finalize soon. With those words, Excellency, I invite you to make your opening remarks.
Уважаемый господин Джайшанкар, уважаемые коллеги, хотел бы искренне приветствовать всех участников юбилейного 25-го заседания нашей межправительственной комиссии. За долгие годы такой формат диалога доказал свою эффективность и стал ключевым механизмом развития взаимодействия по широкому спектру направлений. Фундаментом для этого служат прочные, проверенные временем узы дружбы между Россией и Индией. Отношения особо привилегированного стратегического партнерства подчеркивают регулярный характер двусторонних контактов, в том числе на высшем уровне. В текущем году лидеры наших стран дважды, как вы уже упомянули, встречались очно. Также мы продолжаем тесно сотрудничать на площадках других международных организаций. Прежде всего, это ООН и ШОС. В этой работе наше государство выступает источником позитивной созидательной силы. Играет важную роль в построении нового миропорядка, основанного на многополярности. Что касается непосредственно повестки дня нашей межправкомиссии, центральное место в ней занимают торгово-экономические связи. Прошедший вчера в Мумбаи бизнес-форум подтвердил растущий интерес предпринимательских кругов обеих стран к расширению взаимовыгодной кооперации. Предлагаю продолжить практику совмещения подобных деловых мероприятий с заседаниями наших комиссий. Также считаю необходимым всемирно поощрять участие российских и индийских
encourage participation of Russian and Indian companies in large congress and exhibition events taking place in our countries, which would allow to rhythmically expand the growth rates of trade turnover in a cadenced fashion. Here I would like to point out the stably positive dynamics. And over the last 5 years, trade turnover of our country has grown more than 5-fold. And India is now the second country among all the foreign economic partners of Russia. The positive tendency is maintained this year as well. Over the first 8 months, the trade turnover has grown by 9% as compared to last year. It's important that this growth is accompanied by the diversified structure of mutual trade, along with traditional supplies of energy sources and mineral fertilizers. We've grown food exports, first of all of sunflower and soybean oil. On our part, Russia, aside from procurement of products of agro-industrial complex, continues to import from India industrial equipment, components, pharmaceutical drugs, and substances. Tasks on further expansion of product range, as well as shortening the trade imbalance, will be enshrined in Program for the Development of Promising Areas of Russian-Indian Economic Cooperation till 2030. Among other things, we confirm our strong commitment on signing the free trade agreement between the EU and India, as well as bilateral agreement on services and investments. This fully meets the needs of our business community. We keep in check the interbank cooperation and settlements. Share of local and alternative currencies keeps growing in bilateral trade. It is now approaching 90%. We deem it especially necessary to continue our work on expanding correspondent relations between Russian and Indian banks. It's of no less importance to continue our efforts in transportation. We're interested in expanding direct air traffic between our countries. Right now, flights are operated solely by the Russian Airlines Aeroflot, conducting 12 regular flights per week from Moscow and Yekaterinburg to Delhi and Goa. We hope to see more frequent flights development of the route network, as well as the resumption of flights by Indian air carriers. We consider India as a crucial partner on strategic projects and international logistics. And by that, we first of all mean the Northern Sea route and the North-South corridor. The introduction of new routes, including container routes, which would significantly lower transportation costs and economic operators. There is a dynamic development of a cooperation in energy. We have increased shipments of popular fuels, including crude oil and oil products. Opportunities for further increase in trade turnover are interlinked with LNG, shipments of thermal and coking coal. Russian companies also dispose of necessary competences in order to participate in creating objects of power generation, from providing engineering services to providing modern equipment. We're interested in expanding complex cooperation in the nuclear field, including the successful results of realizing the project of Kudankulam NPP. We suggest we join our efforts in areas that are especially important in order to achieve a technological sovereignty. Here we mean promising cooperations in such areas as engine building and microelectronics. We attach great importance to developing cooperation in exploration of outer space. We see opportunities for expanding supplies of equipment and components to supply Indian crewed orbital spacecraft Gaganyaan. At the advanced stages are already the projects in the satellite navigation. Mutually beneficial area of cooperation is the appliance of Russian competencies
технологии в сфере
and technologies in railway machine building.
у нас есть опыт подставки
We already have experience in supply and assembly of track equipment in India. We're conducting work on creating joint
электропоездов,
production of high-speed electric trains for Indian railways
инициатив.
within the initiative Make in India.
В числе приоритетных сфер
Among priority areas, there's chemical industry and metallurgy. In these areas,
успешных
there is a range of successful cooperation projects.
осуществляются встречные поставки сырья.
We have reciprocal deliveries of raw materials and equipment. Another promising area of cooperation
Цифровые технологии.
is digital technology.
Российские и индийские IT
Russian and Indian IT companies
в области
are working together in the area of telecommunications, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and smart city technologies.
не менее значимое место
Just as important on the agenda
межправительственного
for the Intergovernmental Commission
сотрудничества.
is the cooperation in humanitarian area.
Одно из приоритетных
One of priority areas
высшее образование
is the higher education.
между университетами
Among universities of Russia and India,
уже более 600 двусторонних
we've already signed over 600 bilateral agreements of
В нашей
cooperation.
стране обучается
In our
около
country,
28
around
тысяч
28,000
индийских
Indian students
примерно
are
половина
studying
из
at
которых
Russian
осваивают.
universities, and around half of those are getting medical
Чтобы дальше
professions.
двигаться по этому вектору,
To
необходимо
take further steps in this area, we need to simplify the procedures of mutual recognition
образование
of diplomas
ученых
and academic degrees.
рассчитываем
We
активизировать
expect
разработку
to step up
соответствующих соглашений.
the work on
Прорабатывается также
subsequent agreements.
вопрос
We're
подготовки
also
индийских специалистов
discussing the
на основе
issue of preparing Indian workforce on the basis of Russian secondary vocational training programs
дальнейшего
with the
трудоустройства
perspective of their further employment
предприятий.
at the Russian companies.
Очень важным
Another important element of bringing our peoples closer together is the development of the cultural dialogue.
отмечаем здесь
Here we see a positive tendency.
ведется взаимодействие ведущих
There is an active cooperation among leading Russian and Indian libraries and museums.
в 8 городах России.
In 8 Russian cities,
Самый масштабный
last years,
фестиваль
there has been the largest festival of Indian culture. And recently, in October,
в индийском штате Гуджарат
in Indian state Gujarat,
ледового шоу
they had an opening night of the ice show, the love story of Scheherazade, with the participation of leaders of world ice skating, and the rich
стран
cultural and historic heritage of both our countries is an important prerequisite for the development of tourist exchanges.
положительную динамику.
Despite a clearly positive dynamic, the tourist traffic has not reached the numbers before the COVID. And we believe it's reasonable to step up our cooperation in this area and create a separate working group within the framework of a commission. Distinguished colleagues, let me reconfirm our commitment to develop dialogue across all partnership areas.
Ценим многогранный характер
We
российско-индийских
highly appreciate the multidimensional nature of Russian-Indian relations and are ready to make the necessary efforts to achieve all the goals. Thank you for your attention.